Hey, what's going on, guys? Joseph Gonzalez here. Wanted to create a quick video for you all about why real estate agents fail, and not necessarily just about that, but how to be successful with some of the ideas that people are saying are out there why real estate agents fail. So in today's video, I want to talk about at least 5 to 6 different things that will help you improve your business. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this idea that real estate agents fail because X, Y, Z. The reality is most real estate agents who get started were in another profession as an employee. And whenever you're an employee, you're used to people telling you, or business owners telling you exactly what you should be doing on your day-to-day basis. So this is where the idea of the plan comes into play. So a lot of people say if you don't plan to have success, then you're planning to fail, right? If you don't have a plan for the day, you plan to fail. The idea is very true, but you have to think of yourself as your own employee as well as the boss. So what I mean by this is, if you've never actually had to build out your own plan or a plan for an employee, that's where you should start. Okay, if I were my own employee, what would I want myself to do on a daily basis? You see, most of you are trying to come in and be the boss and say, hey, here's what I need to do as a boss. And then you try to plan your day for yourself as a boss. The problem with this is you've never owned your own company before, so you don't know how to do that. But you have been an employee, so you need to start saying, okay, how would my boss actually plan my day for me? And if you can start doing that, you will eventually become the boss of yourself, if you will. And then if you hire an employee, then that process of actually getting them to do what you need them to do will also be much easier. But again, you're coming in and you're trying to be the boss and do all these things and trying to plan like a boss. You've never been a boss before. You need to plan like your boss would have planned for you and look at the schedule they gave you and say, okay, here's what my boss did for me. Here's how I can do it for myself. And that changes the reality and thought process on how to actually be successful on a day-to-day basis. You're no longer an employee, but if your boss was planning for you and you got this plan for the day and you knew you had to do these things, it just became simple. Now you do the same thing for yourself. So the other reason agents fail, specifically really early on, is because they're not sure how to actually calculate what they should be making. So most agents come into the business and think, hey, month 1, I'm gonna start making sales. And that's because maybe they had a friend who did that. Maybe they have, a cousin, aunt, uncle who was also a real estate agent, and they came in, they were immediately successful. Reality is most agents actually won't be successful and sell their first house, at least for the first 6 months. So what that means for you is, okay, how do I calculate that I won't have my first commission check for the first 6 months? Knowing that maybe, hey, I'll get one closed in between month 1 to month 6. What I want you to do is get a calculator out, especially if you're a new agent, and say, okay, if I close the deal today, and let's say I close at 2.5%, or I get 3% if it's a buyer, and the average house is $300,000, you type that into your calculator, you type in 300,000 times 3%, and then you have to take it a step further and say, okay, I made $9,000 on this check, but I've got to get my broker their split. And then I've got to make sure I set aside money for my taxes. And now you're sitting at somewhere around, let's say about $6,000 to $7,000 of earned income. That lets you know, okay, if I want to make $60,000 a year, I've got to have at least 10 of these transactions throughout the course of the next year, 12 months, in order for this to happen. So you take your income goal and then you work backwards from what your numbers really are. And so that then whenever you're actually planning out your day-to-day basis like we were talking about earlier, you know how many contacts you need to make so that you can get a sell, and how many contacts it would take to get a sell, and then how many sales it would take to hit your goal. And most agents actually never plan this out. And so now they're just running in the streets, if you will, trying to improve their business without actually knowing what their true goal is and how much money they'll actually have to have set aside in order to get to that goal. So this leads me to reason number 4 why real estate agents fail. Most real estate agents come into the business and have very unrealistic goals. A lot of real estate agents come in and think, you know what? I know a friend who makes $200,000 a year selling real estate. And you see the big number and you think that's all there is to real estate. You forget that there's contracts, there's personalities that go into play into this. There's a human element. And the reality is, if you listen to what I said just a minute ago, it takes 6 months for most agents to actually close the deal on average. And so whenever you come into this business, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be awesome, I'm going to do great. And that may be true, but you forget that it takes time for anybody to be successful at this stuff. Now, there will be some agents who are rock stars. They may have family members that have showed them how to do the business, or they just are hustlers or whatever have you. But if you know the average person will not close a deal for 6 months, and then the average of agents failing over the course of 2 years, the first 2 years is 87%, it makes you think differently. And so you have to start planning your day and understanding that you have to have realistic goals and set realistic expectations for yourself. Don't let somebody else's expectations be set for you, not even mine. I'm saying look at the data and understand it, and then be more realistic on what you're trying to accomplish. And that'll help you actually build a better career in real estate. And the next reason that I think real estate agents fail is because they actually never transition to being full-time. Not saying that you can't be a part-time real estate agent to start out with. I actually suggest that if you don't have 6 months of expenses set aside to start your real estate business, then you need to keep your full-time job until you actually start closing deals consistently, a deal a month or maybe 2 deals a month. I'd say a deal a month, 12 deals a year. Once you have that in place, then you can transition to full-time. Those agents who never transition to full-time, I work with thousands of agents, they actually never start seeing the results they want to see. They'll close a deal here and a deal there, and a deal every 3 months, and maybe 4 or 5 deals a year, and then they're like, why am I not as successful as I could be? It's because they're not having the ability to set aside the time that they need to do the same things over and over and over again that help them have those other 3 or 4 deals that they had previously. And so most agents can't step back and look at the business and look at their own business and personal life and say, oh yeah, this is why I'm not able to do that. But if you can build 6 months of expenses and then transition to full-time and actually plan your day and know what your goals are, then becoming a successful agent is not hard. Well, let me explain that again. It's hard. It's just not going to be the easiest thing. It can be simple, but not easy. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, it's simple to get to that number if you know what you're doing. However, if you are not actually planning everything out and you're not trying to set these data points in place so you can read them properly, then yes, you will probably not be successful. However, once you transition to full time and you set your time, your expectations, and your plan properly, you can be successful. Another big reason that agents fail is they're not marketing themselves very effectively. Agents will often go out and they will try all these different sales tactics to try to get people to talk to them about real estate, and they only sell. Reality is you're gonna have to have several components of a marketing plan. Your marketing plan is gonna be comprised of 3 strong legs of your business, if you will, or 3 pillars. Your 3 pillars should look something like this. Either you're a phone caller, a door knocker, or you send out flyers, right? Those are like the old school ways of doing business. Next up, you need to have a proper social media. This is the new way of doing it. You have to have a social media, posting information about new construction, posting information about houses that have sold in a certain neighborhood, learning how to farm a neighborhood. These are what I would call not necessarily super proactive, but kind of passive selling, if you will. And you're growing your social media and you're growing your brand by having enough information out there that people actually see you and know what you do for business. And then the final thing is active and paid. So the way I classify this is I'm going to be spending money on these different companies. I'm not going to say their names because I'm not going to promote them on my YouTube channel, but you're going to be spending money with these companies and leads are going to be coming to you because you paid for them, right? And so whenever you're doing this active marketing and you're actually spending dollars to go out there and acquire business, this is what I call active. And so that would be the 3rd leg of business. So if you're doing all these things, right, you're making sure that you go out there and you're doing the old school way of things, if that's what you end up liking. You're doing the new school way of things, which is branding yourself on different social media platforms. And then you're doing active spending, active marketing to get leads to come to you through paid advertising. Then those 3 things are going to help you be more successful in your business. The one thing I want to tell you is if you're not doing your follow-up, you will not be successful. Most agents, if they're doing all these things and they're not doing their follow-up, that can be one of the key components that keeps them from actually being successful. So if you get leads, call your damn leads. And I think the final thing that keeps agents from being successful in real estate is they are afraid to make mistakes. Let me tell you, every agent, your broker, the most successful agents you see in your market have made a mistake. You will make mistakes. Don't keep that from allowing you to be successful. Know that you're gonna make mistakes. Try to limit your mistakes, but just say, hey, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna improve. Anybody who's been successful in this business has made mistakes. And if you can do that, you will put yourself in a good position to not worry about those things so much. Yes, you need to make sure that you do know the rules, but not worry about making a mistake so much that it limits you and prohibits you from actually being successful and going out to do the things that you need to do in order to make those mistakes, because we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our wins. Now, I know this video and other videos like this about real estate agents failing is very like gloom and doom, but let me tell you this. If you can take these action steps that we're talking about and limit all the things that we're talking about from being part of your daily life and take the parts that we said that you can improve on and start putting those in place, guess what? You will be successful. You will not be one of those agents that fell within the first 5 years. You will see your business start taking off. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see other videos just like this one where we talk about real estate and keeping real estate marketing simple, go ahead and click the video right here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.